Hi, morning everyone, and today is number 10th. If you don't know what that is, what day is significant for me, that's the Marine Corps birthday. And I was in the Marines for 7 years, from December 2004 until October 2011. And yeah, Marines taught me a lot of great skills, taught me a lot of life lessons, and gave me a good perspective on the world. Had the opportunity to live in Hawaii for 3 years. That was an amazing experience. Probably would never get that experience without going to the military. Just to live there for 3 years, and then it just built up from there. And then I went to Japan, went to Iraq in 2007, 2008. Got stationed in Portland, Oregon, and then I got out. And yeah, I learned a lot. And one of the reasons why I went in the Marines was to pay for my education. I come from a humble background. My parents are two blue collar workers. My mom is a cashier. My dad is an immigrant from Mexico, worked in the fields. So they didn't really understand what was needed. They tried their best, whatever they did. But the reason why I went in the Marines is because I wanted to get my education paid for. And I'm glad the Marines was there. Was not expecting to learn all these other things from the Marines. Uh, yeah, I was going to go in the Air Force, but I had two buddies that joined the Marines and convinced me and tried to go talk to the Air Force recruiter. The Air Force recruiter was like, I'll see you when I see you. I would talk to the Marine Corps recruiter. The Marine Corps recruiter was like, I'll see you in 30 minutes. I saw him that afternoon, and I don't know, he got me good in terms of, he told me that 1/3 of Fortune 500 CEOs were Marine veterans, which is not true, but yeah, he got me there. But it all worked out. And in terms of, I learned a lot of great skills. It wasn't always easy. It was very rough. Some of the best times of my life, sometimes the worst times of my life were in the Marines. But I learned a lot of life lessons that I'm using right now in my 30s, in terms of persevering, like having high values, high standards, like giving giving effort, giving that extra level and everything. And yeah, yeah. So I'm really glad I went the Marines. Wouldn't change it for anything. And yeah, just moving forward and trying to take the lessons of the Marine Corps, apply to my life, in business and with my personal relationships, and just trying to be the best version of myself possible. That's all I can do. And yeah, just to help, since today is supposed to be a financial planning related topic, since yesterday we did personal development, I'm just going to talk about what are the things that Marines should do uh, with the TSP, and this also applies with other service members as well. And the key thing with TSP is like the federal government's version of a 401k. And there's five main choices you could choose, and then there's some life cycle funds where that's managed for you. And so the key thing when you first start with TSP is you want to at least do the first 5%, because for most people that are joining new, or if you've been in for a while, at least just do 5%. If you do 5% and you do your 20 years, or you do 5%, you're gonna get a good foundation for retirement. And if you're a young investor, you typically want to do Roth TSP. Roth TSP wasn't invented until, like, I think 2014. And the key thing is you're going to get taxed either way. The key thing is you'd rather be taxed on the seed than on the tree with a bunch of fruit. So if your TSP grows to $1 million and is all in the traditional, guess what? You're going to get taxed on that full $1 million or $500,000, whatever the amount is. If you get taxed by putting your $100 in, you're only going to get taxed by, let's say it's $20. For every $100, you get taxed $20 today. It could be $20 to $30. But when you're pulling out that money, that could be a big difference. So if you pull out $100 40 years from now, that's going to be like you're being taxed on $2,100. 30% of that is $600. So for me, I'd rather be taxed at the $20 today than $600 down the road. Because when I'm older, I'm not going to be working as much. I'm going to need that money. So as a young investor, I would recommend the raw TSP versus the traditional TSP. And for people that join, I believe after 2016 or 2017, you get a 5% match now. Now you should do the 5% match or do 5% or whatever, because the fees within TSP are pretty low. They're very, very low. Like in terms of, they're like, for every like $1,000 you put in there, you get, the fee is like $1.09. It's very small compared to other outside, and that's because the federal government has those economies of scale and everything. And there's only 5 choices that you could choose from with the TSP. So you have the C fund. The C fund is the S&P 500 index, which is the largest 500 company. Then you have the S fund. That is about 3,000. That's the total market index. So there's about 3,500 companies that you're investing in by putting your money in there. And then you have the I fund, which is the developed international fund. So you're investing in companies in Europe, Japan, Australia, and there's about 900 companies in that index right there. And then you have the F fund. That's the aggregate bond fund. So you have all the mortgage-backed securities and all these other different bonds inside of there. And then you have the G fund, which is the most secure fund, but it has all these growth opportunities. It's getting like 2% last time I checked. But the key thing is you want to make sure your money is in the right spot. Before like 2014, most people were automatically just put in the G fund, and the G fund only gave you a 2% return over the last 10 years, roughly 2.5. But at that case, your money's doubling every 36 years. If you put in the C fund, your money doubled every 7.2 years over the last 10 years, because it got like a 7.2% return for a 10-year. So the idea is you want to make sure your money is in the right spot. So if you're in your 20s and 30s and you're not going to retire until your 60s or 70s, you want to make sure your money is in the right spot. And by making sure your money is in the TSP, you're going to experience very low fees. So let's just say you're putting your money in a managed account and you're paying 1% or 2%. So your portfolio has to outperform that 1%, 2% fee. That's a management fee. So if let's just say you're getting a 10% return, your money's doubled every 7.2 years, and then let's say you have a management fee on top of that, and that's dropping it down to an 8% return. Your money's going to double every 9 years. So for me, that could be a big difference, having my money double every 7.2 years versus every 9 years. So you can literally go from, it could literally be a $600,000 difference come retirement by just making sure your fees are in the right spot. And the TSP offers the lowest fees. So the key thing, so since the fees are so low, and you put money, the key thing, don't give your money away. Like if you're trying to buy a house, try to save that money as early as possible, because then you're just taking away from that growth and everything. And you can take a loan from the TSP. It's not recommended. You can take a distribution, but that's why you want to have different buckets. Make sure you you want to make sure that you have. Well, I'm Nathan. I was in the Marines, so I know this like the back of my hand and everything. But the idea is, keep it in there as long as possible. It's very low fees. If you're younger, I would recommend sticking more heavily towards the C fund, the S fund, and the I fund, and less towards F and the G fund. Closer to retirement, you want to add more G fund and F fund to it, so you have that downside protection. Because when 2008 happened with the C fund, it took 5 years to recover. When you're close to retirement, you don't want to wait 5 years to recover. You want to wait 6 months to a year for your money to recover. So if you just have a plan with your investments, that can help out a lot. There's other things you can do with your money to help you want money in different buckets. You want to have your money in your TSP. I would also recommend a taxable bucket. You can do that with Wealthfront, Betterment, Fidelity, Charles Schwab. You can also you also want to have an emergency fund. So put money in the savings. Just put automatically 5% into your savings every single paycheck. The goal is 20%. So I would say 10% TSP, 5% into your savings account, emergency savings account, and 5% into your taxable account. And just like once you get your 5% into your savings, where you have 3 to 6 months of your emergency fund established, plus another $2,000 for a sink fund, because we have an average of $2,000 in unexpected expenses every single year. We want to make sure we just have that covered. So then we don't pull from the TSP, or we have to pull from the taxable account. So those are my strategies to help people, Marines, with their TSP. So happy Marine Corps birthday to the Marines. Yeah, it's a good part of my life. Glad I did it. And Semper Fi to everyone out there, to the service members out there tomorrow on Veterans Day. And if you have any questions about TSP, or you want me to help you out, just leave a comment, or you can just go to Start Here. I'm willing to help you out, just answer any questions, personal questions that you may have. So just go to growwithjoe.me/start here. I'll give anybody a free hour consultation. Just be like, hey, what are the questions you need? I'm here to help out. So hope you enjoyed today's message. And thank a Marine, thank a veteran if you see one, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you, Nathan, for sharing this message. And I didn't realize I could do this. So, just go right here. Just learn something new. All right, so take care.